boys and girls. Today we are on story number 3 of our Bible stories out of this beautiful Bible story book. And today I'm going to read you one of my favorite stories, Noah's Ark. Raise your hand if you've ever heard that story. Just about everybody has. But every time you hear it, you can learn something different from the story. This is found in the Bible in the book of Genesis. The writer of the story, retold by Leslie Lindecker. And it's good to retell the stories so children can understand what's going on by the words written. Many years after God had created the earth, most of the people had turned away from Him. That means they walked away from God. They turned their backs and they walked away. This made God very sad. He wanted to wash the earth clean and make it good once again. One man, though, still obeyed God. His name was Noah. And God said to Noah, I have a special plan for you and your family. I'm going to cause a flood to wash the earth clean of all evil and wickedness. You and your family have found favor with me, and I am going to spare your lives. Do you know what that means, to spare your lives? That means He's going to keep them from dying. He's going to protect them. Noah listened carefully to everything that God told him. You, God said, must build an ark. It should be made out of gopher wood. You must seal the wood with tree sap inside and out. The sap will keep the water out. Put a window near the top of the ark and a large door opening onto the lower 3 floors. God continues, when the time comes, I will send 2 of every kind of animal on earth to you. They will come in pairs, 1 male and 1 female. And you will shelter them in the ark. That means you will let them come in and be inside the boat so the rain doesn't get them. I will send the birds of the sky and everything that walks and crawls on the ground. You and your family must gather food for yourselves and for all the animals and store it on the ark. God continued, when you see the rain begin, gather up your family onto the ark with all the animals and close the doors. Noah trusted God. He told his family what God had said. The family prayed together, and the next day Noah and his sons began to build the ark. Noah's neighbors came by to see what was going on. Why are you building such a big boat? The neighbors wanted to know. Noah told them what God had said about washing the earth clean of all the wickedness and evil. His neighbors laughed and turned away, shaking their heads at Noah's foolishness. In other words, they were being bullies, weren't they? They were just laughing at him and pointing at him, probably calling him names. But that did not stop Noah. Noah and his sons continued to work hard on the ark. They built the huge boat and coated it with the tree sap, inside and out, so the water would not leak in. So one thing you need to notice there is they are doing exactly what God told them to do. If they left that step out, maybe the boat might have sunk. They put in a small window near the top and a large door opening onto the bottom 3 floors. I like the picture there. There's Noah on this side walking with God, and on the other side you see the picture of them as they have built the ark. When Noah and his sons finished the ark, they started gathering food for their family and for all the animals. Then an amazing thing happened. From all directions, animals began to come to the ark. They came in pairs, 1 male and 1 female. Tiny little mice and ladybugs, they walked to the ark. Tall giraffes and round elephants, they came to the ark. Noah watched as the smallest little hummingbirds and the mightiest eagles flew into the ark. The lions roared, the owls hooted, and the snakes slithered. All of the animals came in peace to the ark. I'll show you some of the pictures. There they all gathering up. 1 male and 1 female. That was a lot of animals. Noah and his family put all the animals into the rooms in the ark. They tried to make them as comfortable as they could. A week later, it started to rain. The skies grew dark and the clouds began to roll and build. Lightning flashed and thunder boomed. Noah and his family were safe and dry inside the ark. They could not hear anything outside the ark except the storm. They took care of each other and all the animals on the ark. And God protected everyone and everything on the ark from the storm. One interesting thing that I liked when I read the Bible story was that God closed the door. When it was time for the door to be closed, God is the one that closed the door to the ark. It rained all right. It rained for 40 days and 40 nights. Now, if you're thinking about that, that is a long time. That is over 4 weeks usually. That's a long time to have rain and not be able to go outside. God washed away all the evil and the wickedness. Noah and his family were the only people who survived the flood. The animals on the ark were also safe. I like the idea that Noah and his family did not have to look out the windows and see all the terrible things that were happening. God protected them and left them on the ark while it rained. Noah and his wife kept busy, feeding all the birds, feeding all the animals. The wives of his sons kept busy feeding all the animals too. Noah's sons kept very busy cleaning up after all those birds and animals. Think for a minute. Do you have a pet? Raise your hand if you have a pet at home. Some of you have 2 pets. Has your pet ever gone to the bathroom in your house? Probably. So you get the stuff and you squirt it down there and you clean it up. But can you imagine what it would have been like on that ark with all those animals? Ooh, that might be awful. But his sons and all of them had to keep it clean. God kept peace among all the animals and the birds who were all used to roaming and flying free across the earth. They ate fruits and grains right from the hands of Noah and his family. Because Noah's family trusted God, they were not afraid of any of these animals. Even the growling tigers and the snapping crocodiles were calm and peaceful. Can you imagine that? Because if we see a tiger outside or a lion, we wouldn't run out there and pet them, would we? Or if we saw an alligator walking across our yard, would we go out there and say, hey, and pet him on the head? No. But God had control over the animals and made them peaceful during those 40 days. The rain did stop after 40 days and 40 nights. So the ark bobbled up and down on the floodwater for 150 more days. So if you think a month is 30 days, 3, 6, 9, 12, for 5 months, they're still in there and they haven't gone out yet. You see the picture? So it rained 40 days and 40 nights, but after that, then it stopped. But the ark just stayed there for 5 more months. God sent a great wind to make the water go down, and then the ark came to rest on the top of a mountain. Noah felt the ark settle on some solid ground. He went to the top of the ark and looked out the window, but he could only see water. Noah knew it was not time to leave the ark. What would happen if they would have left the ark at that time when it was still floating? If you said they would come out and they would all drown, you are probably right, because it had rained all those days. And the ark was floating, but it wasn't time yet to leave because there was no dry land to be seen. Later, Noah looked out the window again, and this time he saw mountaintops above the water. Then Noah sent out a dove. The dove flew around looking for land, but when she did not find land, she returned to the ark and landed back on Noah's hand. Noah then waited another week. Then he sent the dove out again to look for dry land. The dove returned with a sprig from an olive tree. Now, what do you think that means? If the bird went out and came back with a sprig, did you say that maybe the bird had found some dry land? Let's see. Noah knew then that there was dry land out there, but he waited again for 1 more week, and then he sent the dove out for the 3rd time. This time, the bird did not return. Noah knew that the dove had finally found a place to live on the dry land. God then spoke to Noah, and God said, leave the ark. Take your family with you. Bring out all of the animals. The earth has been clean now, and it is yours to care for. Noah and his wife left the ark. He had sons as well. His sons Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and their wives left the ark. The birds flew from the ark, and the animals walked, slithered, crawled, hopped, and ran from the ark into the newly cleansed world. Noah then built a special altar and praised God for taking care of them. God was pleased with Noah and his family. God told Noah, I will never again curse the earth because of man's wicked heart. I will never again destroy everything to wash the earth clean as I have done this time. Planting time and harvest time, cold and heat, summer and winter, night and day shall not end as long as the earth remains. God then blessed Noah and his family, and he said this, I will put my promise to you in the sky. God said to Noah. Then God painted a rainbow across the sky. Well, it's a beautiful rainbow. Raise your hand if you've seen a beautiful rainbow. I have many times. Sometimes you even see a double rainbow. When I was on the trip to Israel this last year, we were out in the Sea of Galilee with all of our friends, and then all of a sudden you looked over and there was a rainbow. It was like a miracle. It was God's reminder that He is with us and He will not flood the earth like that again. This is my sign, God said. I will never again cover the whole earth with water. Whenever you and your children or your children's children see my rainbow in the sky, it will be a beautiful reminder of my promise. You know, in the Bible, there are so many promises that God tells us and gives us that gives us a good feeling. After I finish these stories, I'm going to tell you some of God's promises. But right now, let's get back to the story. Noah and his family lived very long and happy lives. They all had many children, grandchildren, and even great-grandchildren. They all loved God and remembered His promise when they saw His rainbow after the big storm. The animals and birds spread out throughout the world. They had chicks, and they had pups, and they had kittens, and they had foals. And when they think that no one is watching, they too are looking in the sky for God's promise in His rainbow. So look at all the beautiful animals and all the beautiful artwork. And there's Noah over there when he sends out the dove for the last time. You say, what kind of things can we learn from this? I think the most important thing is when you feel in your heart like God is whispering something to you that you know you should do that is right, you shouldn't ignore it. You should do what things that you know in your heart are right. And Noah, he might have been bullied more than anybody that we can ever imagine. When we go into schools now, it says no bullying allowed, no bully zone. Well, back in those days, the same kind of things were happening. People were laughing and making fun of Noah. But did that stop him from following God's purpose and plan for him? No, he did it anyway. If you want to do an art project today, why don't you just look up a picture of an ark on your computer and then draw your own ark and put the water around it. Send it to me if you want to. Hope you have a great day, and I hope you've liked this story. This was one of my first pieces of art. I thought you might enjoy seeing that one. Have a good one.